Hey everyone, AJ here with another video blog. I've been blogging and vlogging back and forth, back and forth. My last few contributions have been blogs on my website, andreajengle.com. I've got the latest one there was about early pregnancy symptoms that caught me totally off guard. So you might want to go and read that. I also have couple of blogs about how I was optimizing my nutrition for fertility, how I had to tweak a few things as we were trying to conceive, everything. I talk about like even supplements that I was taking, considerations I had to make there. And if you go back a little bit into my blogs, you will see how I was eating prior to trying to conceive. So I was mountain biking, weight training, I was eating in a calorie maintenance range, so I wasn't necessarily trying to lose or gain weight, which I think is super important. I'm going to touch on that in this video. But this video is going to be about nutrition in my first trimester. And I'm not going to get into crazy details about what you should be eating because I think everyone's diet is very unique and needs to be tailored to their own needs. I will do a separate video about if I'm still using carbonite and carb backloading and if I have been during my first trimester. And then I'll do a video about my weight training in my first trimester. And I'm doing these videos based on trimester because I'm now in my second trimester and I can tell you that it is totally different than my first trimester. I'm more back to normal. But I can also tell you that during the first trimester, things changed week to week and you're going to need to tweak things week to week and things are going to pop up. Like at first I didn't have heartburn and then I had crazy heartburn and it really altered how I was able to eat. If you go back and read my blog about my early pregnancy symptoms, there was like a almost 4 week period where I felt like total garbage. So I was not able to eat stay awake or train the way I normally would. Now that subsided, it got a little bit better, but it was nowhere near normal or how I was pre-pregnancy. And you just have to be open that, you know, you're going to be getting biofeedback every single day from your body and you're going to need to make adjustments. And this is important whether you're pregnant or not. Training and nutrition should, you know, you have to be aware. You have to, you know, you've heard me say 100 times, you have to get to know your own body and your own needs. And that requires having that, you know, being in tune with yourself and making those adjustments. So, you know, a lot of times I work with people who they're in tune with themselves, but they don't know how to adjust. Or they're comfortable, so they don't want to adjust. And that's challenging. But when you're pregnant, you're kind of forced to. So let's talk about the first trimester. So I did a video about maintenance calories, and I think it's super important to go watch that video because maintenance calories is overlooked. I always find in like, well, I don't want to say the bodybuilding world, but like in general, in fitness and nutrition, women especially, are always trying to diet. They're afraid to eat in excess when they, you know, need to put on lean muscle mass. And I find in general, sometimes people are just flip-flopping between bulking, leaning out, bulking, leaning out. Meanwhile, there's a lot that can be said for just kind of maintenance calories. And maintenance calories is what I was striving for to optimize my fertility. It was where I was eating in the summer months before we were trying to conceive. And it's where you should be in your first trimester, your approximate maintenance calories. So it's important to really know that. I've got a video on my channel about maintenance calories. You can go check it out. You can, you know, use any kind of calculator online that you can find to help you determine what that might be. All of these calculators require some individual tweaking because we are all different. But establishing your maintenance calories is really important. In your first trimester, there's really no extra calorie demand. You know, the whole saying eating for two, you can just get that out of your head because that is not what you should be striving to do. Now, your calorie demand will go up in your second and third trimester, and it might even be higher if you're weight training than, you know, some of the normal recommendations that you see out there. So you might see on a lot of websites, it's like 200 calories in your second trimester, 200 extra calories that you need to eat a day, and then it can be up to 5 in your third trimester. Well, that could even be increased if you are weight training, especially if you're weight training with, a good amount of intensity. So, maintenance calories, that's what I was trying to strive for my first trimester, but I had every single pregnancy symptom you can think of. Nausea, heartburn, my digestion just like slowed right down to what felt like nothing. I didn't have morning sickness. I got it in the evening, so I got it kind of after dinner and then throughout the night, which I'll talk about in my training video, because when you don't sleep well, it affects your training. So that's something I will touch on. So, you don't want to be malnourished during your first trimester, but sometimes it feels like everything is working against you. And it really did feel like that. I could not hold down my food. What I could eat made me feel sick. What I wanted to eat and what I was craving, and what I thought I should be eating, because it's better nutrition, was just all over the map. Like I couldn't even go near some of the healthy foods that I like to eat, like nutrient-dense things like green leafy vegetables. Those were making me puke, and I couldn't even prepare them, let alone eat them. So all these things come into play, and it becomes pretty challenging at times. But I'm going to walk you through some of the things I did. But the first consideration I want to talk about is just the calorie demand itself. Now, by no means do I think you should be losing weight or trying to lose weight during pregnancy. I think as soon as you know you're pregnant, you really need to have that shift of mindset that whatever your goal was before is now on hold. And now the priority is the pregnancy and making sure you have a healthy pregnancy and that you're eating a healthy amount of food to sustain that. Now, in the first trimester, like I said, your calorie demand isn't up that much. And I was a little worried because I didn't even think I was hitting my maintenance just because of the sickness that I was going through. Now, I also realized right away that my energy expenditure was way down compared to what it was before. I was not training as often. I definitely wasn't training with the intensity I used to train with. I was doing no cardio. Not that I was doing a ton before, but I had to stop. Like I wasn't biking or anything like that. I also noticed that my day-to-day energy expenditure just throughout the house, like doing housework or standing when I'm working at my desk, I couldn't even do that anymore. I was so fatigued from the pregnancy hormones that I was sitting most of the time. I was napping 2 hours a day. I was going to bed way earlier. I was getting out of bed later in the morning. So I didn't feel like I was meeting my normal maintenance calories, but nor did I feel like my energy expenditure was where it used to be. So it kind of balances itself out, which is really the beauty of the whole thing. So just to give you an idea, most of my first trimester was like that, except towards the end. And of course, Christmas and New Year's was in that time span too. I think in my first trimester, I gained about 3 pounds total. Which is about average for me because I was I would say on the very low end of average weight, if not just teetering on being underweight right before I got pregnant. So that 3 pounds is about normal. Pregnancy weight gain is all based on your pre-pregnancy BMI. And I'm not going to get into that in this video, but there are some women that do lose some weight during their first trimester. Before I really understood that, I was a little alarmed by that, but I think as long as you're not intentionally trying to lose weight, if it's just a matter of not being able to hold down your food, it's not the end of the world, and you're going to be able to make up for that in your second trimester and your third. And you should plan to do that. That goes back to the mindset of when you know you are pregnant, how you have to shift your goals. You're no longer on a weight loss diet. You're no longer, trying to peak for a strength competition or your strength training. It becomes all about auto-regulating every single day just to stay healthy and fit throughout your pregnancy. So the digestion was a huge thing for me because I like to get up in the morning and take a crap and get on with my day. But as soon as you're pregnant, that just kind of slows right down and it can be a day wrecker. Pregnancy, constipation, And then on the flip side, it's like you eat the way you would try to normally eat as far as like portion sizes, and it makes you sick, or it gives you incredible heartburn, or you're just super uncomfortable. So one of the first things I had to do that really helped with the whole digestion issue is I had to break down my meals into smaller portions. And a really easy way to do that, and it was easy for me because my meal structure has been pretty much the same for years. You know, it varies if I travel or, you know, get off my schedule, but it's been like 3 meals a day, maybe one snack for sure. Sometimes there's a second snack. Kind of depends on my training and what my goals are. But couldn't eat a normal portion size. So let's say breakfast, for instance. I would cook my normal breakfast, but I would eat half of it right away, and I would put the other half in the fridge for later. That helped tremendously. So instead of eating 3 full meals a day, I was having 6. And there might even been a few snacks in between too. The other thing was, and it might be different for other people that get morning sickness, I was experiencing my sickness in the evening and at night. So I couldn't load my calories the same way I used to. I had to distribute them more in the morning and early in the day, because if I didn't do that, I couldn't get in enough food in the evening. So if you're sick in the morning, you might just be kind of grazing and having little snacks throughout the morning, but then you should try to compensate for whatever calories if you feel better in the evening. That was just a little tactic that I used that I noticed that helped me quite a bit. Now, the other thing was food aversions. All the things that you think that you want to be eating to, you know, nourish yourself and the baby, like leafy green vegetables and, you know, all sorts of healthy stuff, you might have crazy food aversions to. And I mean, like, I love Brussels sprouts, and if I put one in my mouth during the first trimester, I would puke. So that leaves you feeling, I don't want to say guilty, but I don't think there's any other word for it, where you just feel like, you know, you're robbing your baby of these, you know, nutrient-dense foods that you would normally want to be eating. You know, I make sure I take my multivitamin. I also was incorporating a little bit of a green supplement just to make sure I was covering my bases. That's all I could really do. Like I said, if I tried to sit down and eat a salad, I would have been ill. And I did try a few times. You know, I did think, well, maybe it's just getting over the first few bites and I'll be able to eat it. No, that didn't work for me either. So I did try to force myself some foods like that, and it just didn't work out. Of course, I found like mushy green peas for some reason was something I was craving. So, you know, I didn't crave all crappy food. I was craving some other healthy options too. So that was not something I ate very often before I was pregnant. And in my first trimester, they were kind of like my go-to greens. They're not leafy greens, but whatever. They weren't big. It wasn't a Big Mac. But talking about things like Big Macs, no, I have not broken down and had a Big Mac yet, but it might happen. But what I did experience was some really weird cravings, and that's where like some more guilt comes in, because you feel like you're craving stuff that you probably shouldn't be eating because of whatever belief you have in your head about, I don't know, whatever it might be, that you think it's going to be harmful. I mean, I craved bologna. I've never bought bologna in my life. And I just feel like when you get those cravings, you're like, if I don't have it, it's not going to go away. But this is something I learned. You don't need to have a ton of whatever it is that you're craving for the craving to go away. And I learned this because I went to the deli counter to buy bologna, and because I'd never bought it, there was all these different types and choices, and I kind of asked her a few questions. She said to me, well, I could give you a taste before you decide what you want. Well, she gave me a couple of slices, and I realized that got rid of my craving. That's all I needed. I only needed a couple of slices. I didn't need to go like pound 4 bologna sandwiches, which I really thought I wanted to do. But that's all I needed. I needed a slice of bologna, and then I was over it. One day I wanted what the heck did I want? Oh, I wanted KD so badly. I didn't want a whole thing of KD. I literally just wanted like a spoonful of it, and I felt better. Or I just wanted like a little bit of it. So I put on I put like some homemade KD. I don't want to say it's like a healthier option, but it's more like it's not full of crap. I put that on those like low carb noodles and just kind of had that as a snack, which were high in fiber, which is great because I wasn't getting enough fiber at that time too. So kind of had to find little variations like that. And I just realized that, you know, when you have these cravings, doesn't mean you have to go out and binge. You might just need a little bite of something, and that will help you get over it. So those are like the main things about the baseline nutrition with first trimester that I want to talk about. Is super random. I'm someone who's meticulous about my nutrition. I don't think I was like totally completely off from what I would normally eat, but as far as how much I could eat, how it made me feel, and the weird things that came into play, it was definitely challenging. It was always evolving, like throughout the whole trimester. So one week, you know, something would make me sick, and then the next week I was okay with it. So you don't want to write certain things off either. As far as carbonate and carb backloading, and do a separate video about that. But what I want to say is that, you know, nutrition plays a huge role in your training. So because your nutrition is going to be a little bit wacky, it's also going to influence your training just as much as the hormones do and everything that go along with first trimester. So I'll do a separate video about that. I'm going to leave this one as it is right now. And if you have any other questions, you can make comments on this if I post on my Facebook page or whatever. You can reach out to me, and I could always do more videos for you. And I will keep you updated about my second trimester too. And I will tell you right now that my second trimester has been basically eating pretty much the way I used to before I got pregnant, with a little extra calories. And it's been great to get back on track and feel good again. So I'll see you guys later.